Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 99 of Show For You, which now will be going over Niko DeMille's new song. I guess I figured out how I'm going to go about this. So, the title of the song is the B curse word, but as you know, I don't partake in profanity on the channel just because of my values and all of that. So, I will be calling it Birch. So, yeah, Niko DeMille's new song, Birch, even though it's not Birch, as you know. But, yeah. So, this song was really good because it was one of the more, like, ballad-esque songs where it told more of a story. And this story predominantly focuses on just a horrible partner. Just like a birch. But, yeah. So, this story goes over their relationship, or not really the relationship predominantly, of, I guess, Niko, it would be the insert for this, and the birch. But, yeah. So, we kind of just see as it's discussed, and, like, there's multiple lines which I just kind of want to focus on for a bit. There's one point where he states that he has a golden bullet with her name carved into it. And this shows, as we learn later on in the story, it's a bit of a prelude, but, I mean, it's kind of like having an epilogue before a prologue. It's kind of like a Tarantino movie, where, like, with Pulp Fiction or something like that, where you have an event that happens, like, actually way later in the movie happened first. So, yeah. So the movie starts off with that line, and it shows kind of a theme of loving someone so much that you realize that there's nothing better for them than death. But yeah, so we just kind of go, he kind of discusses this birch, and as they go throughout, he just kind of mentions about how they had to be bailed out by him and all of that, and how they're having struggles, how they have broken mirror wrists, which indicates some form of self-harm, I believe, because, like, I mean, there's scenes of it throughout media and stuff like that. Like, we see in The Walking Dead when Beth busts up the mirror at the farm and tries to cut her wrist. So we know this person has problems. They have immense personal issues, and to the point that they are harming themselves. So they have very, I guess, low self-esteem, low sense of self, low care for themselves. But yeah, so we see this person is struggling, and in the song, the, I guess, character, I'm just going to say Niko, because Niko, I'd presume, is the insert for this. I'd presume this is a story closely adjacent to something which occurred in Niko's life. So we see as Niko stays with this person throughout all of this tribulation, everything. And it goes along, he mentions in one line, if I overdose tonight, I'll be closer to our child. And I don't really know how to perceive that line. I don't know if a child was possibly aborted and therefore overdosing would be death, and therefore dying they would be closer to them since they would be in the afterlife with the child, or if overdosing is in the sense where, I mean, because overdoses don't always lead to death, so maybe it's a sense where they're so far gone, so far lost in a land of fantasy that their child is there, as if this person would have never had a kid. Well, this pair would have never had a child, just because of the absurdity of the relationship and the extreme circumstances. So it's either that the child is a long fantasy, or the child died somehow, miscarried, aborted, something like that, and it led to the child's death, and therefore the overdose death would then lead to a equal plane of existence. I'd honestly presume it's more of like the fantasy idea because of other, I guess, verbiage used throughout this, so I presume that the overdose is essentially signifying a fantasy realm where everything is gleeful and different than the one we currently live in. So I presume that the child is a fantasy and not actually something that did happen or would have happened. I don't really know how to explain that. But yeah, so we also get the line that I believe it's, I'll keep playing my guitar until you're mine, or something like that. It's a line along that lines. And I don't think there's much behind that, like, symbolically, but I just really like that line because it's just like, I don't know, it's like with me, it's a cool line. But yeah, I mean, maybe it'll indicate a eternal slavery to music, or an eternal, like, dedication to the making of music, because maybe they'll never be yours. But I don't believe that's really what it was meaning. I just kind of like the line and wanted to give a little bit of an opinion on it. But yeah, so and then it ultimately progresses along a little bit more, and we see as Niko is talking about how their mother loved him, and how that he got the birch sober for a month, which shows an immense dedication to this person, showing that that Niko had true love and true admiration for this person, to the point that he was helping them become sober, helping them fix their life from the low lows of self-harm and substance abuse and all of that. Then we see in the next line that, but then you cheated on, and then he said something along the lines of, but then you cheated on me because he gave you all his drugs. So we see And all that time, effort, and everything was just sacrificed to this person for them to throw it all away over returning to their addiction and breaking that sobriety which they held. Now, this is a song of true tragedy because we see as Niko has dedicated so much time, effort, energy to becoming this person, where he mentions he even hates himself at one point, and so he's lost himself in this, I guess, not stride, but like struggle. This, I guess, not conflict, odyssey almost, like an immense adventure, struggling through this to help this person better themselves because he truly loves them, but they cannot reciprocate that or I guess really value that as much as he does because they're just not in the right spot. They're so broken down. They're a broken human, and that has been slightly repaired over time, but ultimately they just threw it all away just to return back to that, I guess, instance of self-hate and guess just like not really deprecation, but just like I don't really know, like numbness to the world and just hatred for oneself and humanity, not humanity, but human weakness. They returned to this state after so much time, and it shows that yes, they are in fact such a lost individual that they didn't even recognize the value of what Niko was doing for them. And this kind of warrants the earlier line of the song of that I have a golden bullet, a golden plated bullet with your name on it. It shows that this person is, they are not beyond the realm of saving, because I mean, due to my theological views and just views in general, I believe that anyone can be saved if they're willing to be saved. But they just have to get to that point of willing. And yes, it may seem like someone is possibly never going to reach that state of being willing. But I believe there's a time and place for everyone if they are going to be saved. But, like, it's understandable from a more human perspective and less theological perspective to realize this person probably is not going to help themselves. They're never going to want to be better, and they're just not going to be able to escape this like trough they're in. So the golden plated bullet with their name in it is the only way to solve this problem, because they're not going to get better and they're just going to keep harming themselves, harming others. So gotta wipe them out. And that's just a really sad thing, because it shows that a person who loved them has been hurt by them so much they've realized that there's no fixing them. They're irreparable, or however you say it. So they're just kind of left with only one option of being to end their life, because to end their life is better than to allow them to live in a state of misery. Kind of like, this is a horrible like analogy to compare this to, but they're kind of like putting down a dog. When a dog, like, say they got hit by a car and they're only going to be able to live in a paraplegic state, they're not going to be able to enjoy the things that they did throughout their lives. And yes, it is it's not necessarily selfish. It's human to want to keep them alive because they're your dog. You love them. But you realize that without that ability to do and function as a good, or I guess like, I don't really know the correct verbiage for it, but like in the human sense to be as a good human, and the like dog sense as a active, lively dog, that they're not going to be able to enjoy their life. So you take that, I guess, stretch of putting them down. And that's how this kind of, like I said, it's not a great analogy, but it's how it works here. Because, yes, you love that person, you want them to live. However, it is selfish to allow them to continue going on and living, because you have seen the damage that they can do, the damage that they will continue to do, and their unwillingness to create a better life for themselves. So they're going to continue to live in misery and hatred and just utter chaos, exactly. But so you take that action of preparing to kill them, because that's the freedom from their burden. But yeah, so that song, like I said, it was a great song. I love like the ballad aspect of it, and I cannot wait to see more of the new Niko DeMille. Because guys, I've been listening to Reset. I've probably listened to Reset over every bit of over 20 times since it dropped like a couple of days ago, and I can already sing it word for word, guys. I would do it right now, but I'm not going to embarrass myself like that. So that's all I really have to say about Birch by Niko DeMille, and all I already have for episode 99 of Shelf Review. So thank you very much for watching.